IT Security for Beginners, Part 8, the smartphone. So for many people, IT security philosophy is synonymous to the computer at home or at work. As most people know, having an antivirus software is generally a good idea, and that you should install all security updates. But that is far from the whole truth. It is no longer our computers at home or at work that are our main points of contact with the internet, but it is in fact the smartphone in your pockets. In 2019, 1.52 billion smartphones were sold worldwide. That is 8 times as much as the computers sold, which is crazy, because almost all phones sold today are smartphones, which can be used for just so much more than making calls and sending texts. You can in fact browse the internet, send emails, do all your banking with it, to name a few. With that in mind, it is not strange at all that it's become more interesting to access sensitive information by hacking our smartphones. For those who want to protect themselves today, it is equally important to keep your smartphone and your computer secure. So basically, the methods that are used to acquire sensitive information from a smartphone or take control of it is the same as in the computer world. A single smartphone today has the same or even better performance than computers sold in the market. Take the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra as an example. It has an 8-core CPU running at 2.73 GHz. It has 12 gigs of RAM, 128 GB of internal storage, with the option to add an SD card with up to 1 TB. And the screen resolution is 1440 x 3200, running at 120 Hz with HDR10+. And its camera are able to record video in 8K. That is insane. So Trojans and other forms of malware has been around for many years and has become more and more common with smartphones. And the attackers spread their tools in a slightly different way than they do when it comes to computers. They often program it so it is uniquely adapted for just smartphones. By far, the most common way to spread malware is to have an app on Google Play Store, App Store, or third-party stores. Just like when it comes to computers, the Trojans are completely hidden inside harmless apps. Usually it sends out lots of text ads to your contacts, or send lots of text and messages to expensive tall numbers. The user don't notice anything until the next phone bill comes. By then, the creator of the Trojan has had plenty of time to retrieve the money collected by the Trojan. So 2 factors determine which smartphone platform is most exposed for malicious code and other security risks. The first is the number of users, and the second it concerns the operating system's built-in security. So in the computer world, Windows has been far more vulnerable to malware than other competing operating systems. This is partly because the absolute majority of all PCs in the world are running Windows, and Windows has far more vulnerabilities and security holes for an exact attacker to exploit. So according to McAfee, 97% of all malware that was created for smartphones was for Android, and only a fraction of it was for iOS and a Windows Phone. But it does not matter which platform you choose, the threats will always be there. So all the major smartphone manufacturers send out security updates on a regular basis. It is important to keep up and installing those updates as soon as they come available to keep your smartphone safe. In addition to adding new features, it also often closes the newly discovered security holes. The vast majority of smartphones today have so-called over-the-air updates, which means that you don't have to plug in your smartphone to your computer in order to update it. So keep an eye on your apps. The vast majority of Trojans that are sneaked into smartphones are through app stores, such as Google Play, App Store, or third-party stores. In order to stay secure, you should be careful about what you install and primarily choose apps from developers you feel comfortable with and read the reviews about the app before installing it. Most major antivirus companies does not only offer protection to PCs but even for smartphones. How interesting they are for the average user can be discussed, but basically it acts like a kind of filter that scans your installed apps for malicious code and warns you when you're trying to download and install a suspicious app. The one who is careful and only installs reliable apps will be fine without any antivirus protection on their smartphone. However, there may be features in these programs that can be useful to any user, for example, automatic backups, ability to lock lost phone so that it can't be used. That is a last resort to prevent sensitive data from falling into the wrong hands. So do you have small children at home or friends that like to play with your smartphone? Then you should know how difficult it is to keep track of everything that is happening with it. If you have very sensitive information on your phone, it can be a good idea to simply get another one for your usage for more leisure activities. It may sound a bit old-fashioned, but it's also a smart way to distinguish the sensitive information from things you don't care as much about. So use your private phone or tablet to play games and test new apps, and use the work phone to arrange important emails and take care of your banking businesses. By never installing more apps than necessary and being careful with the links you click on, minimizes the risk of your information gets into the wrong hands. You can be less careful with your private phone, even if it is infected with a virus. The attacker does not get anything of value. So how do you protect your phones from malwares, Trojans, or other malicious codes? I would love to hear it, so leave it in a comment. And if you have enjoyed this video and maybe learned something from it, please press that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos.